A total solar eclipse of the sun is probably one of the coolest things that you can see with your own two eyes. I would say it's essential to go and see at least one before you leave this earth. And in this video, I'm going to tell you what you can expect to see during a total solar eclipse, how to get the most out of the experience, and what to expect in general. So what is a total solar eclipse? A total solar eclipse of the sun is simply when the moon's orbit crosses in front of the sun from our point of view on Earth. During this event, the moon will totally obscure the disk of the sun, allowing us to see the outer atmosphere of the sun called the corona, along with solar prominences or large storms of hydrogen gas around the surface of the sun. A total solar eclipse is special because this is the only type of eclipse in which you can actually see totality, and this is the part of the eclipse that is inside of the deepest part of the moon's shadow called the umbra. You see, when the moon crosses in front of the sun, it has two components of shadow. There is the penumbra, or the outer shadow, and the umbra, which is the deep inner shadow. The best way to see a total solar eclipse is to place yourself inside the path of the umbra. As the moon crosses across the sun, this deepest part of the shadow will speed across the surface of the Earth very quickly. And you want to put yourself inside the path of where this shadow is going, because this is the only place where you'll be able to see totality. So whatever you do, I recommend you look at a total solar eclipse map for this solar eclipse or any upcoming solar eclipses and find a way to place yourself in the path of totality when the time comes. This is the only way you can appreciate the full experience of a solar eclipse. You need to be within this line, or else it's a night and day different experience. Anything outside this line, and you're only going to get a partial solar eclipse, and it's not going to be that interesting, and you'll need solar glasses to see it at all. But if you're inside of the totality line, it is a life-changing experience. So if you want to have that life-changing experience, consult any eclipse maps. I'll put some in the description, and you need to put your body in that line. So I'm going to gear this video for the April 8th, 2024 solar eclipse, and towards specifically American viewers, because this is where most people will be traveling to see the eclipse. This solar eclipse will be visible from other countries as well, namely Mexico and a small portion of Canada, as well as probably some Pacific islands way off the coast. Or if you're in a plane over the Pacific Ocean, you might be able to see it there. Now, totality is going to start at 1:27 Central Daylight Time in Texas, and it is going to move upwards and to the east. So northeast, the path of the umbra will move, crossing many different states. It'll go through a lot. You should check the map because it's covering a huge portion of this country. Totality will end in America around 4:35 Central Daylight Time in Maine, it looks like. So place yourself anywhere along the central or east coast in this path, and you'll be able to see totality for the eclipse. Those of you in northern Mexico should also get a really nice view because the path cuts through this part of the world as well. And again, I highly recommend you check out Time and Date. It's a really excellent resource to see when the eclipse is happening and where it's happening anywhere in the world. So you need to be in this line, but you also need to be in a place where it's clear and there's no clouds to be able to see the eclipse. And this is the largest question mark for any given eclipse, and we just have to kind of cross our fingers and hope that we pick a good spot. But statistically speaking, the clearest places for this eclipse are going to be the further south you are on the totality line. So if you are in northern Mexico, you probably have better odds than someone, say, in Maine or New York. And likewise, Texas is probably going to be the best odds of clear weather on this day. But again, no promises because no one can really predict the weather that far out. You should try and go somewhere with clear weather. Of course, not all of us can travel very far to see the eclipse, but if you really want a guaranteed experience, probably consult the historical weather averages and probably plan to go to Texas. But also have a backup plan and be willing to drive a long distance along the center line if the weather is not going to turn out. So what do you need to bring to a total solar eclipse to get the most out of the experience? The most critical thing that you're going to want to take with you so that you can actually see what's happening is a pair of solar glasses. I will link some in the description. You want to make sure you buy ISO certified solar eclipse glasses and not some random knockoff pair. It's your eyes and I don't want you to damage them, so I'm going to link you in the description to some ISO certified pairs of solar glasses so that you don't damage your eyes on some kind of cheap knockoff. But these are essential to the solar eclipse viewing experience because these will let you comfortably watch the moon as it crosses the sun's disk. Without them, you will not be able to see this, and you're going to be in the blind until essentially the very moment when totality happens. And not to mention, these save you from damaging your eyes. I don't want anyone to go blind watching the eclipse, so these will save your eyeballs from any kind of eye damage and are very important. The other thing you're going to want to take with you to the solar eclipse is you will want to put the solar eclipse timer app on your phone. Again, I will link this in the description for you. This is an app that is going to give you voice callouts for the specific events of the solar eclipse as it progresses, so that you can more safely take on and off your solar glasses and be aware of the critical stages of the eclipse so that you don't hurt your eyes and that you get the most out of the event. So these are the two most important things. Get the solar eclipse timer app on your phone and get a pair of solar glasses. If you do have a pair of binoculars or a telescope, these are great times to use them, but they are also very dangerous times to use them. So again, we'll talk about safety more in the stages of the eclipse later in this video. So the total solar eclipse is broken up into 5 main stages. These are first contact, second contact, totality, third contact, and fourth contact. And this basically is separating out each stage where the moon crosses over the sun's disk. First contact is when the moon first begins to touch the sun's disk. This is a pretty exciting moment because this is where things are finally starting to happen and you'll actually notice a change. The portion from first contact to second contact usually lasts a little bit over an hour. So this is a good time to throw on your solar glasses. Do not look at the sun without them. And you can just chill and relax and watch as the moon slowly makes its way over the sun. If you want or you feel so inclined, this is also a really fun time to try throwing your solar glasses over your iPhone and maybe trying to snap a couple pictures of the crescent sun. This is a good moment to relax, just enjoy the scenery because things are about to get very interesting in the next phases. Some things you'll start to notice during the first contact to second contact phase is that right in the last couple minutes of first contact, the light will start to get very weird. The whole world will look like it has a low contrast filter. Everything will be kind of cast in this warm tone, and also things are going to start to get cold. This is also a really good moment to start to look at the shadows on the ground. If you look at how light breaks between leaves and casts itself into circles on the ground, there's not going to be circles of light on the ground anymore. It's going to be crescents. And this is a really interesting phenomena of diffraction, the nature of light. Yeah, the shadows of everything will start to get sharper. The defocused image of the sun will appear as a crescent and no longer as a circle. So just take in your surroundings, look around you, notice these strange things that are happening. If there's any animals around you, they might start freaking out. This is a really interesting part of the eclipse. The second contact is probably the spiciest part of the whole eclipse. Second contact is the instant or start of totality. And the moments leading right up to it are dangerous for your eyes, but it's also a very interesting portion of the eclipse to look at. So it's important that you take caution in these parts of the eclipse to not damage your eyeballs. But during this portion of the eclipse, there's going to be 2 really cool features to see. That would be the diamond ring and Bailey's beads. So the diamond ring is the last moment in which the actual disk of the sun is visible. And you'll also be able to see the brighter parts of the corona around the moon along with this last flicker of light. And this is the diamond ring. And this is a very dangerous portion to actually look at the eclipse. If you're going to go look on the internet to see, is it safe to look at the diamond ring without solar eclipse glasses? The answer you'll find is no. And I'm going to recommend that you also stay safe and probably don't look at the diamond ring without solar eclipse glasses. Immediately after the diamond ring, there is the Bailey's beads. And these are the last little flickers of light that pass through the valleys and mountains on the moon. And these take on special shapes for every single eclipse because it's different for every single one, the way that the moon goes across the sun. So you'll be able to see these interesting beads and flickers of light in the last couple moments. And these are also a little dangerous to look at without solar eclipse glasses because this is the uninterrupted light from the sun and it's still going to be very bright. That being said, you will find conflicting answers on the internet about whether it's safe to view these parts of the eclipse. And my recommendation to you is, when in doubt, be safe. Don't take your solar eclipse glasses off until you hear the call out on your phone from the solar eclipse timer app, or until you can no longer see the sun in your eclipse glasses. Then it should be safe to take them off because you will be in totality. But just know you should not be just staring at the last parts of second contact without glasses on and damaging your eyeballs. You should, be taking your glasses off at the last possible second so that you don't damage your eyes, but you should still get a chance to see these events. But like I said, it's your eyes, so if you don't want to damage your eyes permanently, just keep your glasses on until the phone call out from the Eclipse timer app or until totality has begun. That way you can stay totally safe. All right, so after second contact, this is the most interesting part of the eclipse, the totality phase. The length of the totality phase depends on where you are in distance from the center line and where on the center line you lie. This is going to be different for every location, so I recommend you check time and date to actually reference where you're going to plan to be and how long you can expect to have. Regardless though, the solar eclipse timer app will tell you when this is starting and it'll give you some warnings before it ends. But this is the most interesting part of the eclipse, and for this part, you do not need any solar eclipse glasses. You want to take those glasses off so that you can appreciate all of the amazing things around you. The first thing you'll want to notice is the corona of the sun. This is the superheated atmosphere of the sun that's warped into all these streamers and magnetic lines by the solar wind and magnetic forces from the sun. This is the best part of the eclipse, and definitely spend most of your time looking at the sun's corona because it's an unforgettable experience. But you definitely also want to take in your surroundings during this event because there are a lot of interesting things happening. So this eclipse is going to be very interesting because all around the sky, you should be able to see a whole host of planets during the daytime. You'll be able to see Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, and Venus stretched out in a line along the ecliptic of our solar system. So you'll be able to get a whole tour of the solar system while also seeing the eclipse of the sun. You'll also want to take a moment to look all around you at the horizon because what you'll see is a 360-degree sunrise or sunset. And it's going to be very trippy looking. It's also going to be very dark out, by the way. It'll be like very late twilight levels of darkness. So this will be a very strange and special thing to witness if you've never seen it before. If you have a pair of binoculars or a telescope, at this point during totality, it's safe to actually look at the sun. And I would recommend you do so at this moment so you could get an up-close view of the sun's atmosphere and corona, and even some prominences, which are, again, the tall clouds of hydrogen gas billowing out from the sun's surface that should appear bright red in color. This is the only time you'll get a chance to see them with the naked eye. And they're better seen with binoculars or a telescope, so if you have it on hand, now's the time to use it. My other recommendation to you during the totality phase is to put your phone down and don't try and take photos. There are professional astrophotographers like myself who will put in a lot of effort to get a good photo, but if you're just an average viewer out there looking for the eclipse, put your phone down. You're not going to get a good photo because the total solar eclipse is one of the most difficult things to photograph in photography, bar none. So you're not going to get a good photo no matter what. If you do want something to share to social media, what I recommend you do instead is go prop up your phone on a rock or somewhere and take a video of yourself and your group, whoever you're with, as you're watching the eclipse. Maybe try and angle it upwards so that you can get the sun in the frame, and then record a video of yourselves enjoying the event and forget that your phone even exists. This way you can still have a nice little memory and show the experience of the event, which is you and your friends and family together watching the eclipse instead of trying to get a crappy photo of the corona. This way, you'll still have something to share to social media later and it'll actually be cool. Third contact is just like second contact. This is the immediate end of the eclipse. And like the beginning, it will have a diamond ring and Bailey's beads. But this contact is even more dangerous to look at because your eyes are going to be dark adjusted for the dark environment around you, and so damage to your eyes is actually at a higher risk than it was before. You want to be careful in this phase. Listen to your Eclipse timer app. Listen for the call-outs of when the contact 3 is approaching, and make sure that you're ready to have your solar glasses on or to look away from the sun at the instant the eclipse ends. The solar eclipse timer app will tell you when to put your glasses on, so I would recommend you just follow this. If you don't have a timer app, you really need the timer app. And once you see Bailey's beads, it's time to look away because the sun is going to become very bright very quickly, and you're going to damage your eyes if you're just staring at it. So right when you see Bailey's beads, look away, put your glasses on, or better yet, listen to the solar eclipse timer app and follow the instructions given by the app. That way you can stay safe and you won't damage your eyes during this very sensitive part of the eclipse. One other thing you really need to pay attention to is do not be looking through binoculars or a telescope at the very end stages. Once you're approaching the end of the eclipse, stop looking through any kind of optical aid to magnify the light because the risk to your eyes is very great. If you see the diamond ring immediately after, while you're looking at the corona through a telescope, you risk serious eye damage. So put away the binoculars and telescopes when you're approaching third contact, maintain the safety to your eyeballs. So right at third contact, totality ends and the full disk of the sun starts to become visible again. Now is a good time to relax again, throw on your solar glasses and just chill and watch as the moon leaves the sun's disk, never to be seen again until the next solar eclipse. Then finally, of course, the fourth stage, fourth contact, the moon is going to be off of the sun and the eclipse is completely over. So those are all of the stages of the eclipse. I would pay careful attention to using your solar glasses, your solar filters, and timing everything very carefully around contact 2 and contact 3. Make sure you're using the Eclipse Timer app on your phone so you know when these events are happening so that you can stay safe while they're happening. And to make the most of this whole event, don't try and take photos. Set up your phone somewhere and record yourselves, forget your phone exists, and make sure you try and take in all of the interesting events that are happening during totality, like the corona, the brighter stars, the planets, and the 360-degree sunrise. All of these things you want to look out for because they're all part of the experience. With any total solar eclipse, you also probably want to pay careful attention to logistics. The solar eclipse, especially in Texas, cuts through a lot of rural areas that probably don't have the infrastructure for the amount of people that are going to be there. So wherever you go, make sure that you're cognizant of what the traffic is going to be like because the moments immediately before and immediately after are going to be very busy, bumper-to-bumper traffic in a lot of rural places. So I would say get there early and leave late. Pay attention to the traffic situation and try to not waste a bunch of time in traffic. As far as like where should you stay for the eclipse, accommodations and stuff like that, it's already too late to book accommodations if you're watching this video now, most likely. A lot of places are going to be booked out and solar eclipses are usually booked out far in advance. So if you don't have a place booked out, I would recommend you maybe look for a nice parking lot or pull off somewhere in the center line that's going to be clear. You want to find a place that's safe. I would say don't pull over right off the side of the highway where people are going to be driving. Find somewhere like a truck stop perhaps, or maybe a Walmart parking lot. All are valid places to see the eclipse as long as it's clear. You don't need to be in a place without light pollution because it's going to be nice and visible from anywhere. Stay flexible in your plans. Get there early, leave there late. Make sure you have the app, make sure you have solar glasses, and you should have an absolutely wonderful time, assuming that the weather is clear. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about viewing the total solar eclipse, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I will catch you all in the next video.